You're so confident is something that a lot of people have been telling me lately. Whether it's at work and they're like, you just have this ease in your body, you have presence, you're so powerful, there's something special about you. And I get this a lot, especially lately, and it's been interesting because in my head, I don't feel like I'm the most confident person necessarily. I still have anxiety, worry, insecurities, fears. I'm human just like everyone else. I believe that there are a few places where my confidence comes from that probably makes me a little bit different from most people when it comes to being a confident person. What is the importance of confidence? It is a faith in yourself or a higher power that things are just going to happen. For me, it is just the belief that no matter what I do, I am safe, I am going to make it through, I am a survivor, I am confident, capable, intelligent, resourceful, and it is something that empowers you to take risks, try new things, and to show up in power and strength instead of fear or shrinking. I'm Latia, and I'm a very confident person. I am so confident that I have friends who would like for me to coach them on their confidence. And in addition to confidence, sexuality and attraction are areas that I find very important because sex is fun, confidence is sexy, being sexy is confidence, and all of it makes you a very attractive package as you are. The core of it is just self-expression, if you ask me. So, what makes me such a confident person? I believe a lot of it started off in a very weird way. My parents separated when I was 4 years old. And so my dad left, and I remember being 4 and crying and being like, I'll be better, I'll be good, please don't leave. And that memory came up as I was 12, and I remember seeing so many videos where kids' parents would divorce and they were older and they would do that, and I was like, that's not real, that's so fake. My parents needed to separate, they needed their space. And then I remember that and I was like, oh, okay, that's realistic. Never mind, I forgot. So my parents have been separated for majority of my life at this point in time. I am over the age of 8, so over half my life they've been apart. And actually when I was 8 is around the time their divorce became official, because they separated, and then by the time my mom moved into a house, that was when she was officially divorced. So why my parents divorcing is so important to my confidence is so it's kind of weird, but for me it just works. So my parents, one of the things that I believe is that when you look like you could be siblings, you're kind of just gonna make a great couple. It's weird, it doesn't make sense, it seems like I'm a fan of incest. I'm really not, but if you and your partner look alike, you've either grown up together, have a lot in common, or like there's just something about couples where they look similar enough, but like it's like, oh, like I could see you together. I don't know what it is, but it's just something that feels like it's okay. So there are these times where we're in relationships with people, and the challenges that come up are the challenges that are meant for us. So I'm pretty sure that some of the things that led to my parents separating was more because what is important to my dad was not important to my mom, and vice versa. So even though when they separated, their relationship ended, it was continued through myself and my sisters as their children. So my dad would get mad at me and would blame it on my mom and how she was. My mom would get mad at me and see traits of my dad and how I was. And both sides of my family were like complete opposites. So growing up, it felt more like if Romeo and Juliet were black and lived in America, they would probably have been my parents. Like they felt like star-crossed lovers where they were meant to be together and meant to separate. And they just have this connection that's very interesting to me. So as a child, my parents would always tell me that they loved me. That, you know, there was no shortage of loving words, I would say. I would say affirmations, but there wasn't a lot of that. So it was more like, I love you. Like we would always say I love you when we end a call. There was always this statement of I love you. It's very regularly and consistently expressed. Now, what wasn't regularly or consistently expressed was necessarily like that I was a great person or special or wonderful or amazing. Usually my mom would laugh at me making jokes about how smart I am, and she would sarcastically be like, oh my gosh, you're my most humble child. And he's like, yeah, Mom, you got lucky to have me. And so for me, it's like I just got to be myself. I knew my parents loved me, so even though what they did felt like not loving actions towards each other and towards myself, I knew that they loved me. And I also read the Bible, and it was about a God of love, a God of correction who was always working towards having a stronger relationship with his children and his people, but needing to take these drastic measures to make sure they were behaving properly and honoring the power that this God had. So I never saw God as seeking to punish us or be mean to us. It is corrective to save us from ourselves. Because if we're human, we're likely to be a bit afraid, fearful, and self-destructive. It's not intentional, but like my parents would say they love me constantly, and then their actions didn't necessarily reflect that love back. It's not that they didn't love me, it's just that sometimes we have behaviors and habits that are not as loving as we would like to be in life. And so for me, I was able to kind of have a bit of a distinction around they love me, they love each other, and you can see that there's bad and wrong in how people show up and still care for them. So for me, it would be the same for my parents, where I would see how immature they could be, how petty, how mean-spirited, stingy, or just not kind they would be. And there was even different things that they would do where it was very hurtful, and it was hard to process, especially growing up as a kid. How can you be so mean and small towards me and yet you love me? And so I guess the way I was able to logic and make it make sense is you do love me, and the fact that you're behaving in this way is not a reflection of me. It's just, I don't know, it just is what it is. So even if I am bad or dirty or wrong or trifling or lazy or have a bad attitude, it's okay because like you still love me. So I guess growing up, feeling like I was kind of the rebel, the outcast, the oddball, the black sheep, the scapegoat, the one who would take on all the problems and challenges and difficulties, and I would be the peacekeeper and the mediator. So even though they would get mad at me for everything, because I just would butt heads with both of my parents. It was a consistent thing where each one of them had something that they could not stand, and I couldn't stand about them either. And I knew I loved them, and I knew they loved me. So I guess I was able to learn what Brendon Burchard talks about in the Motivation Manifesto in his chapter on amplifying love. Love is neither given nor taken nor measured out. It is not something that is done in measure or piecemeal. It's not a currency. It's just an energy. It is a presence. It is a feeling. And we are either in touch with that love or we're not. And for me, there are lots of things that my parents did that, like, I remember being in 5th grade and really feeling like, why was I born? I wish I would just die. Like, this is awful. Like, everyone hates me. Life sucks. I wish I'd never been born or could just disappear and just kind of like disintegrate into myself. And I remember in that moment, like, I kind of like bounced myself back up, where I was like, I like went down into a dark place and then I came back up. And it was really within a short period of time, like not even a full day or a full hour. It was like a really short, like just really down and then like bounce back up. And I feel like that's our natural state, where we might get down or sad or frustrated, but like when you're in a place of, I don't know what it was, like trust or faith or just openness, it's easy to kind of rise out of it. But a lot of times what happens is in life, we get kind of bogged down with these stresses and concerns and other people's opinions and all of these other things. And for me, I got to live in the shadows of those things. I can tell you so many bad things people have said about me to my face, behind my back, to people that I know, the people who accidentally said these things, to misinterpretations and all of this stuff. Like, as far as I've been concerned, I'm a villain. I'm a bad guy. Like, nobody likes me. I'm difficult to deal with. And the power in that, I feel, is shown in Once Upon a Time, where the bad guys, when they become good, it's like you can honor their wholeness and their authenticity and their good side and their bad side. But when you find out that a hero had a bad moment, their reputation is kind of ruined. It's really hard to recover from perfection if you mess up. So where does my confidence come from in this equation? It's a mixture of knowing a higher power that I believed was steady, constant, loving, and reading a book called God Confidence, where if nothing else, have power in the source that created you and don't necessarily rely on your own understanding to have faith. Also, I just have a love of my body. I've done track and dance and different things. So even if I feel awkward and I'm super in my head, my body probably has instincts and awareness, and like there's a groundedness and power that I'm not even aware of, which I believe comes from the activities that I've done. And also, I feel like all Black people kind of just have it. Like, we just have this magic and this grounded earthiness where we're just present, and it's like we're noticeable. And I do feel like I have done things over the years to learn more about confidence and having fun. And I pole dance, I lift weights is fun. I have a personal trainer. I do S Factor. I love to move and dance and connect with people. And I would have a practice growing up where I talk to strangers. So when I have conversations with people, it's not about me and what I want, because usually I just want to tell them, you're handsome, you're beautiful, you have a great face, I love your nose, like your eyes. Like, there is something about you that I would like to celebrate with you and share with you. Because as much as I would like to believe that every beautiful person, which is every person on this earth in their own way, knows that they are beautiful and sharing their love and light with the world, I know that we all could use a reminder. So my confidence comes less from really being super proud of myself, because a lot of the things that I do, I just know I can accomplish. Like, I know I can get a job. I know I can, get hired. I know I'm great at interviewing. I know, like, there are things that I know about myself that I've done and I can do. And there are things where I'm like coming up against the wall where it's like, do I really want to last at a job for a while? Am I really capable of building a business? And it's about like I know that I can, and I'm finding like those little places where it's like, let's shift it and really engage and be confident in knowing that I add value. I've been cultivating this confidence and this love of myself my whole life, because not everyone around me was always a fan and trying to support and uplift me. It's not that they were trying to put me down either, but sometimes you have to be your own best friend and support yourself. And I'm a great hype man. I was like, Latia, we're gonna look at our accomplishments and what we've done, and that's gonna be where our confidence comes from. So in the 3rd grade, I had B's and C's, and I was like, I didn't even know I was getting letter grades. How could this happen? I'm a straight A student. And then I became a straight A student. I make choices and I follow through with the actions that takes to accomplish it. Even if I didn't need to study as hard as I did, I chose to, because I wanted to take few chances. So there are a lot of things that I can call my shots and I can make things happen when I'm focused and in the zone and aligned. And I would love to support others and having that power within themselves, because like, I'm not special. I am, like, if anything, like, I usually think of myself as like the worst person on earth. Like, I'm the terrible Christian. I'm not a good role model or an example. I'm just barely getting by. But the truth is that the power in having a feeling that I'm the only broken person in the universe is that in my relationships, I've learned to kind of just like acquiesce and please and be there for other people and listen to them and pay attention to their needs and wants and really see those common human traits. Because instead of being like, in the moment, it's not necessarily, I'm gonna attack you because you're a white person saying an ignorant statement about Black people. It's just, I'll take a note of that and ponder it myself later, because I don't need to engage in you in that dynamic, because that's not what our relationship is about. It's about this topic here. And if something triggers me, then I do the work myself, because I'm not gonna be irresponsible with my emotions and my feelings, because I'd rather make sure, like, let me test it, and is this something where I need to have this conversation with this person or not? And I feel like that has allowed me something like a maturity or a wisdom where people think I'm reading them and I just know their lives, and I just pay attention. I'm very observant. I talk a lot and I listen a lot as well. So from all the books that I've read, the shows that I watch, the people I've met, and I've met people all over the world, Singapore, France, like all over, Switzerland, just everywhere. And humanity is very simple. It is easy to be human, and it is easy to be a powerful human if you're willing to do the work. So I'm ranting a bit, but confidence in self is such a fundamental thing, and I just have faith that I can do it. It's just as simple as that, but it's something that I've been practicing since I was young, and I am taking my confidence to new levels and new heights because I want to remember what it's like to be a beginner and new at it, so I can really support others in developing theirs. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please comment, let me know what you're thinking, and I'll see you in the next video.